Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this
Hello.
evening's Level 6 to 7 focus, wherever you're listening or watching from. So we guess we should start by introducing ourselves because some of you will know us, but some of you won't. So Anika, do you want to start?
Sure. My name is Anika, as Danielle said. I am from Bangladesh, and I've been living in Italy for about 6 years. I used to live in Rome before, and now I live in Milan. And we are both teachers in Milan in the Meravigli School.
Yep, exactly. I'm Danielle, and I'm Australian. And yes, as Anika said, I teach at Meravigli in Milan. And I've been living in Milan for about 18 months. And before I moved to Milan, I lived in London for a long time. We've got a few people watching. So please tell us your name and where you're from. Okay. We also want to make this as interactive as possible. So please tell us your answers to the questions and ask us any questions that you have. Okay, this is for you guys. So we have an interesting topic for this evening: natural disasters. Okay, so something that's, well, not very nice, but I guess it's a reality about life in certain places. And we chose it because it's got lots of good vocabulary, right? And it's very sort of very student-led, okay? So we need you guys to help us with it. Anika, do you want to read this?
Yes, definitely. So, but before I go ahead, I just want to say hello back to Flavia from Rome. Thank you for joining us. And hello, Elisa. She's from the countryside of Milan.
Very good. Hi, ladies. Hey. Nice to have you here.
Yeah. So, in this focus activity, we're going to talk about vocabulary for natural disasters, present perfect versus past simple to talk about a recent world disaster, preparing a safety plan, and an interview with a survivor.
Yeah. So these last 2 points we might not have time for. We'll see, and it's easier to do them in a class. But the first 2 points we're going to focus on. So, what are natural disasters? It's a big question. Yeah, it's a very big question. If anyone watching wants to tell us, can write your answer. If you have a general description, general summary, I'd like to know. Okay. We know there's a bit of a delay as well, so we'll just leave it a little bit. Anika, can you think of a good definition for a natural disaster?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. There could be so many ways to define it.
Yeah.
I guess it's a huge problem caused by nature.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That can harm people.
Yeah. Like a big accident.
Like a big accident, there you go.
Yeah, or a big event caused by nature. Yeah. Okay, let's see what their definition is. It's a very sort of complex definition. So, oh, here we go. Flavia has a definition.
So she says, a natural disaster is something that humans can't control and that can cause damages and deaths. Oh, that's very nice definition.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, just one thing. So damage is uncountable. So it can cause damage and deaths. Right. But otherwise, perfect, excellent. Yeah, that's really good. So the definition that we've got on the slide is natural disasters are extreme sudden events caused by environmental factors, that injure people and cause extensive damage, They can strike anywhere in the world, often without warning. So there's some interesting words in here. Maybe we should explain some of them. All right. Let us know if there's any words on the slide you don't understand. Maybe we can, so extreme, I think you'll know. What does sudden mean? Okay, so do you know what sudden means?
Yeah, I think that's a really common word, and a lot of students may not know this, so it's a good word to know. So sudden would be, it's an adverb to talk about something that happens without warning. So you were not expecting it and it suddenly happened. So for example, everything is quiet and someone suddenly walked in. So something unexpected.
Yeah, without warning. Eliza has a good definition of a natural disaster as well. Something that can cause disasters for our survival. Yeah, exactly. It can threaten our lives. Joris, hi Joris. Nice to have you here from Lyon. Got some people outside of Italy, which is great. So yeah, sudden without warning. Or you can have suddenly. So sudden, the adjective, suddenly, it's the adverb. Yeah. What about injure? It's an interesting word. So injure is a verb. Okay. And it means to harm a person. Okay. So injure is like to damage a person. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, natural disasters usually injure people.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And to cause or create extensive damage. What about strike? This is an interesting word. So strike is a verb. Like to hit, or in this sense, occur or happen. Okay. So it strikes. The lightning, like in this picture, strikes the water.
Yeah. And usually it's something really big, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very it's a big deal. It's not something, it has a lot of consequence. Okay. All right, so let's go on. So now we need to brainstorm a list of natural disasters. All right, so what are some types? You guys can type them into us. All right. There's lots of different ones.
Yeah. Okay, so while we are waiting, maybe we can also share some ideas.
Yeah, so Flavia's got one.
Oh, that's actually earthquake without the H. You're almost correct. So it's an earth, EARTHQUAKE. That's a good one, earthquake. And it's really scary, actually.
Have you been in an earthquake, Anika?
Not a real one, but I have felt the tremor.
Oh, really?
When I was in Rome once, but it was just a warning. It wasn't a real earthquake.
But yeah, I imagine it would be scary.
Yeah.
What could you see? Could you see buildings moving?
I could see a chandelier. Like I was outside at a shop, and there was a chandelier on the ceiling, and it was shaking. It was moving,
oh my gosh!
And everybody was like panicking.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's scary.
Yeah. Have you ever witnessed an earthquake, like, or felt it?
No, nothing. Nothing. Okay, we've got some good answers coming in.
Yeah.
We've got tsunami. Yep. So we use a Japanese word. Okay. It's a Japanese word. An avalanche. Very good.
Or yeah.
Yeah. So Joris says a volcanic eruption. Yep. Or just, yeah, that's actually perfect because a volcano is the thing. But you can have a volcano that is dormant, meaning it's not active. So that's not a natural disaster. Okay. But the eruption is a disaster. Yep. A huge fire, Flavia asks. Yeah, I would say, so if it's a natural disaster, so it starts naturally. So usually those fires, one type anyway, is a bushfire. So in Australia, where I'm from, I'm sure you saw in the news at the beginning of the year, there were lots of bushfires in Australia. That was a natural disaster. Okay. Okay, very good. Yeah, I think you guys have done pretty well. Let us. Elisa, good question. Okay. Let's say first of all, it's lightning, right? So it's we spell it a little bit different. So you're just missing the N, right?
But would you call it a natural disaster, Danielle? Like I was thinking maybe it's just a phenomenon and not a natural disaster. Maybe storm or a hurricane could be a natural disaster instead.
Yeah. Lightning is just a phenomenon. Okay, it's just part of weather. Yeah. You can have, if you have lots of lightning in the air, we call it an electrical storm.
Oh.
Okay, so it's a storm and it's electrical, like it's electric, right? It's got like power. But it's not really it's not a natural disaster. No, I wouldn't say that. Right. Well done. Yeah. You've all done really well. Hurricane. Yeah, very good. Good, Elisa. Yeah. All right, let's start showing.
I was also thinking about what's happening right now.
With COVID?
So, yeah, like pandemic. Would you consider that a natural
that's a
disaster?
good question. I think natural disasters is just about, it's like weather related usually. So I guess because it's to do with human interaction, isn't it?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's caused by human interaction.
True.
So yeah, Flavia, she thought the same thing as you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we say it's a pandemic. Okay.
Pandemic, yeah.
A pandemic is like a health issue, because I guess it's a health issue, isn't it? It's a health issue all around the world.
Yeah, true.
Very good. Okay, let's have a look at what other examples they have. Anika, do you want to read some of them and then I can read some?
Sure. So I can read the first half. So we have earthquake, tsunami, heat wave. So we haven't mentioned this one before. So a heat wave is when the temperature goes up really, really high and people can't function normally. So I think last year there was a heat wave in France and people were dying. It was like 45 degrees.
Yeah.
And then volcanic eruption, we talked about it before, avalanche. So yeah, someone has already mentioned it, but just in case you guys don't know, avalanche is when snow comes down, some loose snow in big quantity comes down from a mountain top. And then we have flood. So be careful with the pronunciation there. Flood, like it's pronounced like blood. So the meaning of flood is when there is excess water in a place where there shouldn't be water. Like if it rains too much, there can be a lot of flood. So you guys may have heard that in Bangladesh every year there's a flood during the monsoon season because it rains too much.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a problem there.
That's something too.
And then we have landslide. So landslide, it's kind of like an avalanche, but for Earth, like when land from some loose land on the top, maybe top of a mountain, comes crashing down, it's a landslide.
Yep. And then we have a severe thunderstorm. So yeah, a thunderstorm is I wouldn't say it's a natural disaster, but if it's really bad and it damages things, then yeah, you can call it a natural disaster. A blizzard. This is a great word. Again, listen to the pronunciation. Blizzard. Okay. And this is a snowstorm. So it's when there's snow in the air and it's really, really rough. Okay. It can hurt people. A tornado. So a tornado, these are very common in the US. So you have a tornado and a hurricane. They're both pretty similar. I think hurricanes start on the water and tornadoes start on land, but they're the same phenomenon, right? The sort of twisting wind.
The whole whirlpool of wind,
Yeah. Forest fire. So like I said, a bushfire. This is another word for it. A hurricane we've spoken about, and a drought. Right, so a drought is the opposite of a flood. So Anika said that in Bangladesh, where she's from, there's a drought every year. So a flood every year. In Australia, where I'm from, there's always a drought. There's never enough water.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. It's just,
well, most of the country is a desert, isn't it? You seem to be breaking off, Danielle. Okay, so in case maybe we have lost Danielle temporarily. If in case you guys can hear me or Danielle, can you please write it in the comment? We apologize for the technical problems. Okay. So, okay, let's just continue talking about some of them. So we have talked about, okay, so there's a little bit of technical problems. So I'm trying to retrieve the material here, which may take a little while. Okay.
Hi guys. Sorry.
Hi. Oh, don't worry.
My internet is obviously
thank you for letting us know, Flavia.
Yeah, thanks, Flavia. Okay, hopefully we're back.
Okay.
My internet isn't very good at the moment, obviously. Yeah, Danielle is frozen. Danielle is frozen. Say frozen. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So a drought. In Australia, there's always a drought. There's never enough rain. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have a question. What do you think is the worst type of natural disaster and why? It's a bit of a difficult question. What do you guys think at home? Let us know what you think the worst type is. What do you think, Anika?
Well, as you said, it's kind of hard. But then if I have to pick one or two, I would say probably it would be earthquake for me, because I always thought that being in a closed place and feeling trapped can give you like a really terrible feeling. So probably earthquake or landslide for me personally seems the worst. Yeah. But as Flavia says, like all are terrible.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's hard to compare them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the situation. I think some of the ones which are really unexpected. So, for example, like a volcanic eruption, if you live relative in a certain perimeter of a volcano, you know, an active volcano, you might know there might be a volcanic eruption. But something like, like a heat wave, no one can know. That can happen anywhere. But yeah, an avalanche, I don't know. Yeah, they're all bad. I don't have an opinion.
Yeah, but I agree with you on the unexpected, like the suddenness of these natural disasters. I think that makes it a little bit more worse.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, guys, let's keep going. So here we go. The power of the planet. It's a good way to think of natural disasters. It's a way of Mother Earth telling us who's boss. So Anika's already.
Interesting question here. Have you?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Danielle.
No, sorry. Guys, it's hard for us because there's a lag as well for us. So sometimes we talk over each other. So yeah, the power of the planet. It's like the planet telling people I'm in charge. Okay. I think it's interesting. So have you or someone you know ever experienced a natural disaster? What happened? So Anika told us her experience at the start, which I think is a bit scary. I haven't been in a natural disaster. Actually, no, maybe one. I used to live in New York. It was a very minor hurricane in the US. And so obviously you get lots of hurricanes in the US, and it came through New York City. And so you had to stay home for a few days. But everything was fine around me. There was lots of branches, lots of trees on the ground, but I think in New York City no one died, but in other parts of America some people died. Elisa's got a good comment here.
Okay, so she says the tornado is the worst type of natural disaster for me. Maybe because I live in an area non-seismic.
I think you mean non-seismic. Well done. Yeah. So
non-seismic.
So there's no so seismic. I think seismic is about volcanoes. Is that right? That's a very advanced word in English. We don't really use it that often. But
I think it's a geographical term. Oops. Okay, so we may have.
So in the plane.
You're breaking off a little bit, Danielle. So I will have the slides ready just in case. Yeah. Okay, so guys, sorry, I apologize for the technical problem here. Okay, so non-seismic, as we were talking about, is a specific geographical term. So, right, great. Thank you, Elisa, for your comment here. So non-seismic is not earthquake. So it's not in plain English, a non-technical term would be, it's not an earthquake zone. Not an earthquake zone. Okay, so an earthquake zone is when there is a possibility of an earthquake happening. Okay, so let's move on to more questions here. So the second question says, have there been a natural disaster in the world recently? What happened? What caused it? Were there any casualties? Oh, hi, Danielle. You're back.
Hi, guys. Sorry. Just my internet is not very good at all tonight.
Oh, don't worry. So I'm actually sharing the slide. Just thought it would
Okay.
be just in case it happens again.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, guys.
Oh, I can hear.
You can hear my baby crying. Hang on, guys. Sorry, I'll turn.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. It's cute. Okay. So you guys who are watching, please try to answer the second question as well. Has there been a natural disaster in the world recently? What happened? What caused it? And were there any casualties or fatalities? So casualties or fatalities are when people die. Okay, those are casualties. So Joris here has a nice comment. I saw an eruption. Oh my God, you saw an eruption in January at Manila near the city. Fortunately, so be careful this, fortunately, only of the smoke got out. Okay, so only smoke came out of the volcano. Fortunately, all right, that must have been scary. So just be careful. An eruption. And fortunately, so I'll just, like Danielle has mentioned here. Great. So, so Elisa says, I hear the child, so cute.
Yeah.
Like I was saying. Yeah, Danielle's baby is very cute.
Yeah, he's pretty cute normally.
All right. So Flavia here says, in the center of Italy, we usually register several earthquakes that affect villages. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. It's terrible, isn't it? I remember in 2016, there was the really bad earthquake, sort of around Abruzzo, I think. Abruzzo and Lazio, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a good situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
So
should we keep?
Yeah. So let's keep going. Here's another question. Which natural disasters occur in your country? So maybe some disasters are specific to countries. So for example, I heard that in Japan, there are a lot of earthquakes almost every day, I believe. So they have specific ways of constructing their buildings.
Yeah, that's true.
So bushfire, for example, is really common in Australia, isn't it? Or flood in Bangladesh is so common. So in Italy, is there a common natural disaster? Or in France, wherever you guys are writing for? So Joris, is there something that happens in France you want to talk about?
Like I said at the start, so in Australia, droughts and bushfires are common. They're the two most common. And also you get some cyclones. So we call it a cyclone. And it's like a hurricane.
But in water?
Or a tornado. No. Yeah, I've forgotten now the details. But we call it a cyclone. We don't use the word hurricane. So there have been some famous cyclones in Australia.
Same in Bangladesh. You also get cyclones. And it's strange because they have specific name of cyclones.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There are different types, yeah. Sounds like a name of a person for whatever reason.
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course. So for hurricanes as well. So Hurricane Katrina. Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go. Flavia's got a good answer. In Liguria, one of the regions in the north of Italy, there are many landslides. Oh, yeah, depending on the weather. Yeah, that's true. Very good. Excellent. Yeah, there are lots of landslides along the coast.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we can move on to some vocabulary here while we're waiting for the answers. So oops. Sorry for the technical problems today. It's like
we say it's a bad time of night. Everyone's online. Elisa's got a good comment though. So there are frequently floods. Remember plural, guys. there are frequently floods in Liguria and Lombardia. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Yes. So here we have some words with their definitions on the right. So we have discussed all of them, really. So if you know them, if you remember them, let's see how much you remember them. Please write the word and maybe the beginning part of the definition. Don't write the whole definition. It takes too much time.
So we've got, so the natural disasters are landslide, drought, wildfire, tornado, and avalanche. So, and then we've got their causes on the right. Some of these are interesting, and I think they're quite difficult because I think even native, mother tongue English speakers might get some of these wrong. So we've got the first cause: lightning, carelessness, arson, volcanic eruption. Number 2, unstable air in the atmosphere. 3, a severe deficiency in water supply. 4, when a buildup of material is released. And 5, an earthquake, volcanic eruptions, or general instability in the surrounding land. There are some interesting words in there, but before we go through it, share Joris's answer. So in France, it's very rare to have a natural disaster, sometimes flood when it rains a lot. Yeah, very good. Okay, so just a few little things. So we have a natural disaster, no S, and it rains a lot. Okay. Flavia has a great question. Arson. Yeah, what does arson mean?
So, well, that's a good question. So arson is when someone sets something on fire on purpose. Okay, so if willingly or on purpose someone sets a house on fire, that's an arson.
Yeah, so it's deliberate. It's something that a person does. Yeah. Okay. So maybe the other words might be okay. I think arson is the hardest one.
Yeah.
Okay, so see if you could match them up.
Yeah, so I am sorry if I've confused anybody. These are not the definitions, but they're the causes of these natural disasters. I think they can be a little bit difficult in some cases, but let's see how you guys do.
Yeah. Okay, so Eliza says what causes a landslide is a buildup, when a buildup of material is released. Okay. Okay, and a drought. Yep, severe deficiency in water supply. Okay, so according to Flavia, a landslide is the last one. Okay, so we have a difference here between those two. Okay, so for the definition of a landslide.
Okay, so landslide is, So yeah, I was thinking like there were a little bit of, well, you could say that it's a buildup of material is released, but then, yeah, it's possible to say it actually, right? But then it just fits better with something else.
Yeah, I guess because it's the instability in the surrounding land. So when the land isn't all packed together, it becomes loose. That's when it can slide.
Yeah, so Flavia's got this one. Good job.
Yeah. So for the drought, Eliza's got drought right.
Great. Severe deficiency in water supply.
Yep. And then a wildfire.
So we also have. Okay, yeah, so absolutely. So lightning, carelessness.
Yep, exactly. So things that can spark a fire, right? Set a fire. Tornado. We've got tornado and avalanche. These are hard. I think these are very difficult. Even for English speakers, I think these are difficult. So, yeah,
So
I
let's see
think
what
you're
you
right,
guys think.
Alisa. Yeah, I think Alisa's got it
Okay.
right. So tornado, unstable air.
Yeah.
Yep, because it's about the atmosphere, or tornado is. So the last one. Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
Guys, it's not important that you know the answers to these. It's just to introduce you to some new language, okay? You don't have to be geography experts. We're not geography experts, okay? All right.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay,
Good
so
work,
in case you
guys.
guys have any questions, any more questions, you can post them anytime. And in the meantime, maybe we can go to our next task here. So we're going to talk about the following. Are natural disasters always a bad thing? See if you can figure out which phrases are true. So there are some sentences we are going to talk about. Maybe we can show all the sentences and then we're going to reveal the answers to you, whether they're true or false. So whatever you think, whether it's true or false, you can write down the number and then true, number and false, etc.
So for the first one, number 1, shouting loudly can cause an avalanche. Okay, it's interesting. Number 2, small forest fires can be good for the ecosystem. Right, so ecosystem is like environment, all right? But it's about how all the different things live together, all right? And number 3, volcanoes add nutrients to the soil. Okay. Anika, do you want to read the last
so
three?
I can read the other 3, yes. So we have number 4. Tsunamis can only travel for about 100 miles. 5, there are thousands of earthquakes across the earth each day. And number 6, 3 out of every 4 tornadoes happen in the US. So really interesting statements here. What do you think? So we already have some response here. But Flavia says true for the first one. That would be really scary. So if you just shout loudly and an avalanche happens, wow. But you think it's true. Elise, on the other hand, says it's false and she's laughing about it. Okay, so I revealed the answer for a second by mistake, to be honest. So it is false. Thank God it's false.
Yeah, thankfully.
Thankfully.
Okay. Number 2.
So Flavia says.
So number 2, so Flavia says it's false. I think it's true. I think maybe it can help certain, it's a natural process to a certain extent. So I think maybe it's true.
I think so too, because I was watching BBC the other day after the forest fire in Australia, and they were showing how new life are beginning to show up. So could be some truth in it.
Maybe.
So let's see. And it is true. You can remove dead brush and allow for new growth.
So brush, guys, brush is like the small plants, like small dry or dead plants on the ground usually. Okay, that's brush. It's not a common word. Number 3.
Elisa has a funny comment here.
Yeah.
If I sing, the first sentence would be true. Me too, Elisa. I'm a terrible singer.
Me too. I'm terrible. Absolutely terrible. So number 3, volcanoes add nutrients to the soil. Joris says true. Eliza, true. I think that might be our only answers. I think it's true. I think it's true. Yeah. See what it says.
Okay. It says true. They allow for new crops. Okay, so crops are basically vegetation. So new plants that grow are crops.
Exactly. Number 4. Anika, do you want to read the last one?
Yeah, sure. So tsunami can only travel for about 100 miles. So what do you guys think for number 4? I think, well, that's really hard to say.
Yeah, I think false. I think they can travel for longer.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I would also go with false. Probably just because we've had 2 truths before. So okay, so Joris
Joris
here says
says
true.
true. Okay,
So
maybe
let's
you know
see what
something
it
we don't
really
know.
is. Maybe. All right, it's false. All right, so they can travel for thousands of miles. So Danielle was right. So it goes further than that. So the next one says, for number 5, there are thousands of earthquakes across the earth each day. What do you guys think? I happen to think it's probably true. Maybe minor earthquakes, not something that is like fatal.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Do
I
you
think there's
agree?
tremors all over the world every day. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so people are answering number 6 before 5. So let's just reveal number 5.
Yeah.
So it is true. Most are too small to be detected.
Okay, so they're tiny tremors.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. And number 6, lots of people answering. So we've got Flavia says true. Oh no, I thought I saw another one earlier. Maybe not. Okay, so just Flavia. I think it's true as well. I think 3 out of 4 happen in the US.
And it is true. Okay. Okay, good job, good job. So we can move on to the next task here. So safety tips, what should you do in each of these situations? So we have some situations on the right, and we have to form sentences, hypothetical sentences. For example, if there is a or there is an, you should. So we have different disasters, natural disasters on the left. And let's talk about each of them. So these are survival tips.
So guys,
that we're going to talk about.
A tip is like informal advice, right? A tip can also mean other things. So for example, when you go to a restaurant, you pay the bill and you leave a bit of extra money for your waiter or waitress. That is a tip. But this is something different. There's 2 different meanings of tip. Well, more meanings, but they're the 2 main meanings. Okay, so so guys, here we've got some of the natural disasters and some safety tips or safety advice. Okay, so we've got run to higher ground, so basically ground that's higher up. Move to an open space. Stay inside. Evacuate immediately. Right, so 2 opposite things there. Call emergency crews. So crew sort of means team. Okay, but in this situation, it means the police or the ambulance or the fire brigade. All right. Do you want to read the rest, Anika?
Yeah, I can read the rest of it. So we have drink lots of water, conserve or save water, run to a basement. Basement is the underground, it's an underground place. And seek shelter. So let me write down the meaning so you guys can take notes. So a basement is an underground place. So seek shelter is to search for a safe place.
Yeah.
To seek is to search for. And shelter is a word used for a safe place.
Yeah. Okay, so now send us some example sentences of what you should do in different situations. So for example, I think, oh no, wait, we have an example. So Flavia says, if there is an earthquake, you should move to an open space. Oh, I didn't know that. That's good advice. That's a good tip for me.
I heard another tip for earthquakes. Some people say if there's an earthquake, you should stand at the doorway, because a lot of buildings that fell apart, but the door, like the frame of the door, stays there.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've got a tip for cyclones. So cyclones, you should, sort of similar, go under a desk or a table, or go in the bathtub. There's something about bathtubs.
Really?
Yeah, you're supposed to, it's safe for some reason, or safer.
Probably because of the shape somehow?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. So guys, what other tips do you have? Just have a look at these definitions. So maybe if we do another one, if there is a drought, you should conserve water or save water. Is there anything else? Here we go. If there is a tsunami, you should run to higher ground. Yeah. So there's a little typo in higher, but I think we know some of you guys are doing this on your phones, and it's hard to type.
I think that's the same. It's the same for flood. You should run to higher grounds.
Yeah, that's true. Any other examples, guys? If there's a hurricane, you should stay inside. You're not supposed to leave your home.
Sure. We haven't talked about blizzards much. I personally haven't lived in many countries where it snows a lot. I'm not really sure what to do when there's a blizzard. I personally think you should stay inside and that's it.
Yeah, I think so as well. I don't know what else you could do. Flavia, if there is a heat wave, you should drink lots of water. Yep. So we say a heat wave, not an, because there's an aka. Yeah. So it's her. It's not a vowel. Okay. Very good. Any others? When should you evacuate immediately? I don't know. Maybe an earthquake. I don't know, to be honest.
Maybe an earthquake.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when you should evacuate. When there's something dangerous inside, like a fire or something, then you evacuate. But
that's true. Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know about these ones.
And then we have run to a basement.
I don't know about that one. Maybe that's a blizzard.
Could be.
I don't know. Yeah.
Very possible.
Yeah. Guys,
I think you should also seek shelter when there's a cyclone, because in Bangladesh, I remember there are some near the beach, for example, they have some shelters. They call them cyclone centers. So if anybody's outside, they should run to those places, especially designed for cyclones.
Very good. Okay, guys, I think we're running out of time. You've been excellent. You've been really, really amazing. You've had some amazing comments. I think your vocabulary's been really good and your grammar's been really good as well. So hope it was useful. Maybe you learned some new words about the weather. Eliza. So this was my example as well. If there is an earthquake, you should hide under the table. So for cyclones as well, you should hide under the table. I guess it's like you said about the doorway, it's to protect you, I guess. So very good. So, well, yeah, thanks again for your time, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time, guys. Bye.
See you guys. Bye, bye, bye.